The world today finds itself in challenging environmental and economic conditions. Challenges in water and air pollution, solid waste disposal, climate change, increased energy demands, pressure on natural resources arising from high population growth. Kenya, too, has not been spared. Rapid growth in Kenya's middle-income population puts a strain in the planning and development of urban centers to cope with the rise in demand of services and amenities. Piped clean water is a preserve of a few urban areas in Kenya. Poor wastewater and solid waste management threaten human health, put pressure on natural resources and the natural environment. Unguided changes in land use has resulted in reduction in arable land and non-efficient deployment of land resources. Increased settlements in formerly farmland, forest and water catchment areas has led to lower productivity, deforestation and degradation of vast areas. Kenya can overcome most of these challenges and create a more secure and inclusive society through a transformation to an economy whose growth has decoupled from resource consumption and environmental degradation.
I think it should be an exciting time, for the private sector, particularly for the innovators. We have a green economy strategy, which actually encourages, the private sector and provides incentives for the private sector to come and do business in Kenya. There are also very many opportunities, for the youth.
Without greening the economy and adoption of sustainable use of our natural resources, Kenya's development as envisioned under Vision 2030 cannot be achieved.
I subscribe really to the philosophy of a circular economy, where we recycle all our resources. For example, when it comes to wastewater, we should be able to recycle our wastewater. We're working very closely with the private sector. For instance, the Kenya Manufacturers Association and also the KEPSA Association.
The Kenya government has partnered with the private sector on various greening and environmental management initiatives aimed at increasing forest cover, protecting and restoring river basins and water towers, managing solid waste, and developing its renewable energy sources. Some examples of collaborative projects undertaken by PPPs include the Kisumu Water and Solid Waste Management Project. Kisumu County Government signed a 6 billion shillings deal for the construction of a modern landfill and will help to manage solid waste in the county and convert the waste into energy.
As a country industrializes, it's important that it is conscious of the impacts of industrialization to its environment. For the manufacturing sector, the sector has been known as a sector that has effects on the environment. And internationally, as the sector has grown, there have been practices that have been inculcated into manufacturing sectors to ensure that as the sector grows, it doesn't grow to the detriment of the environment.
The abundant sun and wind are also being harnessed in a variety of projects, the largest being the Lake Turkana wind farm developed in partnership with the Danish company Vestas. Kenya is the largest producer of geothermal power in Africa today. The Olkaria geothermal power plant is the largest. Kenya's 2030 Water Resources Group partnership aims to improve agricultural water productivity, more crop per drop, strengthen urban and industrial water efficiency, and reuse and create new financial mechanisms for both water supply expansion and improved demand management. This public-private civil society partnership targets to close the projected 30% gap between water supply and demand by 2030. Through global initiatives like the Bone Challenge and regional initiatives like the African Forest Landscape Restoration Initiative, Kenya completed a national restoration opportunity assessment and identified the most pressing land use challenges, as well as a list of restoration options that could help address these challenges and restore the ecosystem services that are currently lacking. 5.1 million hectares of land is targeted for restoration by 2030. Green growth policies are an integral part of the structural reforms needed to foster strong, more sustainable and inclusive growth.
We've used the Sustainable Development Goal as the framework through which we run our business. So everything we do in the company, we look through the lens of the SDGs. And what we've done in the company is we've chosen 9 goals to focus on. And those 9 goals, it's as much as about us doing things to achieve those goals, as about looking at what are the opportunities, what are the business opportunities that the goals present to us? Health and well-being, for example. We have adopted that as one. We've adopted, clean energy, green energy as another. And by looking at things through those lenses, we're able to identify the commercial opportunity that they present to us as a company.
Sustainable Development Goals represent a golden opportunity for governments, private enterprise and civil society to work together towards inclusive societies, poverty reduction, sustainable business, clean energy, thriving environments, a healthier, cleaner and increasingly more prosperous future for all. There is hope for a rise of a green economy in Kenya in the coming 15 years. This is Kenya's realistic chance to create a healthier, more inclusive and equitable society in a sustainable environment.